It's been like a decade since I've seen you, man.
I know it's been too
I know.
long.
It's been forever. So when I went to school and then played, I'd come back to Lexington a little bit in the off season, but I was staying down in Florida, kind of working out down there, and just didn't really get back home as much as I would have liked. Then I actually just moved up to Cincinnati about 2.5 years ago. Once I finished up playing, my wife's from up here, so chased her up here and been enjoying it. I get down to Lexington a little more often, but still not as much as I'd like to.
Right on. Yeah, well, Keith's in Louisville, and I'm here with you.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, we need to get together for sure.
Definitely.
Goggles up here. I haven't seen him yet, but someone was telling me that the other day. I think he just had a baby.
That's awesome. Awesome. And and Wes is across the bridge in Fort Thomas.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Dude, he's the AD of Highlands now.
Really?
Yeah. And he just hired Bob Spire to coach their football team.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Right.
Where was Bob Spire? Was he down in Georgia still, or?
Yeah, he left right after we won the state championship my senior year, and he's been down there ever since.
Okay.
So I think he was only at 2 schools, and the one that he left Catholic for, he was there the longest.
Gotcha. What are you up to in Louisville, Keith?
I originally came up here through my job with Enterprise. I took a job I was a branch manager in Lexington, and then they opened up a new division called Commute with Enterprise. And it was kind of a unique opportunity to be a manager across the whole state and Southern Indiana. So
nice.
It was it was going well. And then, basically my pitch, sorry, my computer is dying here. I'm trying to plug him in real quick. But yeah, I was basically selling Enterprise vehicles and protection for people to get to and from work. And once the pandemic hit, people really weren't too keen on riding to work together with social distancing and all that. So carpooling was not exactly the greatest option anymore. So my division got cut, understandably. I was hoping I might be able to rework somewhere within the company, and I was like helping them shift cars and stuff for a little while. But it wasn't a good move for them to keep my division on. So
man, I'm
thankfully,
sorry to hear that.
honestly, it worked out for the best for me because I had been studying coding in my free time for a few months. And then there's this program in Louisville called Code Louisville that it was crazy how it all worked out. They just got funding again to have their program for free. So basically, the week after I left Enterprise, I started my first coding course. And then here on April 2nd, I finished my 3rd and 4th courses and hopefully start a new career, man. I'm excited about it.
Oh, that's awesome. Good for you, man. That's
yeah, I'm pumped.
Coding. What made you decide to get into that? I mean, that's intense.
It was something I had a history with. So if it wasn't for getting recruited to play football at Penn, my plan was just to go to UK and study computer science.
Okay, I got it.
So I had taken a couple classes at Dunbar, and kind of my mom worked from home on the computer, so I've always kind of had an affinity toward electronics. So really, it was something that I had wanted to do for a long time, and it all just kind of worked out. And honestly, I'm honestly really grateful for the way last year unfolded in my personal life. I'm really excited about where things are going for sure. But yeah, coding is fun. A lot of problem solving, a lot of frustration, but it's very similar to the highs and lows of I could say like a sales career, because it's like you hear no a lot, your code doesn't work a lot, and then you get that one yes, or it compiles correctly, and it's like yes.
Dude, so give us an update with you, man. I mean, how has everything been going? How have you been? It's been so long.
It's been way too long. I was able to get married. Luckily, I was able to get married last year. We did my fiance's parents' backyard. I mean, my wife's parents' backyard.
Congrats.
Didn't have anyone. Didn't get sick. I mean, it was outside. We got best weather ever in September. Mid 70s, and typically, as you know, like 90 degrees, 100 degrees, 100% humidity. So it worked out great. And then been working. I work for Marsh doing employee benefits consultant. So been really enjoying that, and this is my 2nd year in, so really starting to kind of get rolling and things are starting to open up a little bit for us, which has been great.
That's awesome, man. So how are you liking Cincinnati so far? You enjoy the city?
Yeah, I love the city. I mean, it's got so many great restaurants, things to do. I'm over on the east side in Mount Lookout, but love the Zips Burger. Go down to OTR all the time. There's always something going on, whether it's the Bengals, the Reds. Really enjoyed it last year or 2 years ago. My college roommate, Anthony Esclafani, was pitching for the Reds, so I could run down to the park, see him pitch. Grew up with Jesse Winker. His dad was my AAU coach when I lived in Florida. So
okay,
it's fun.
Where fall rolls around too, I think they just announced it like in October. Definitely get out to a Cyclones game, our hockey team here.
Yeah, I've been to the Cyclones. They're awesome.
Okay.
Excited for FC Cincinnati and that new stadium.
Yes.
Yeah.
That stadium, honestly, like here I am, like I'm trying my best like to get out of Cincinnati, but there's so many things that are keeping me here. There's so many exciting things going on, honestly. Just like you said, with FC, that whole new stadium. And then what's going to be interesting is the dueling music venues across the bridge that are going to be competing against each other.
I think they'll be competing, but don't you think that they're going to bring even more attention to that industry and a lot more bands are going to come in and play?
Totally, yes. Now, what's cool about Cincinnati, it's one of the reasons I moved up here, is they fluctuate between like a B- and B+ market as far as like the caliber of acts that they attract and the venues and capacity, right? So adding that to the bank. So the one on the banks, if I remember correctly, is going to be like 4,200 to 4,500 capacity. So we don't really have one like that. And especially on the banks. Now go over to Newport and the indoor, I think, is less. It's around 3,000. But in the summertime, I don't know if you've ever been to Express Live in Columbus or not, but in the summertime, it's literally, and it makes total sense because it's Promo West and AEG, which have merged, that are creating this venue almost identical, but better than Express Live in Columbus. So in Newport, that one, you'll have indoor, but you'll also have outdoor, where they literally open up half the venue. And then you've got like a miniature river bend where you can host.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. See the river.
Yeah. You can host about 7,000 to 7,500 there.
Oh wow, that'd be awesome.
I'm just trying
especially with the Reds playing, Reds win, fireworks going off.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah,
it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be good times.
I got a feeling like this whole spring, summer is just about to be next level this year.
I miss live music. I can't wait to see a live show again.
Yes. And what's wild is in Cincinnati, there's actually a few shows coming up here in April, and they've already. I have some friends that have already been to some shows. Newport Music, I think it's called. No. Thompson House in Covington.
Okay.
Or Newport, sorry. Yeah. One of my buddies has already seen a show there. So Riverfront Live is another venue here in Cincinnati. It's kind of away from everything, but they've got an indoor-outdoor thing going on. They're about to have one of my favorite bands. It's a band that I've booked a few times too. They're called Turquoise.
Okay.
It's
I'll have to check them out.
Yeah. They're interesting. So
they've got like 10 people in the band, right?
They're a 9-piece power funk band from Brooklyn.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, they all met when going to, I believe I remember this right. They all met at NYU when they were studying music together. So it's a really they're really talented.
And how many? Awesome. So how many are where are they from? I guess based out of New York.
I believe they are based out of New York. Yeah, but obviously they've toured all over, and whenever festivals and everything was normal, I mean they were every day.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, hitting the ground running.
Yeah, for sure.
One of my favorite bands, the Revivalist. I don't know if you are familiar with them.
I am familiar with them.
Oh, the lead singer's from Hamilton, I think.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They do that song
for him
that's
to come up here and play more.
I gotta Google the Revivalists because I feel like I know one of their songs now.
I think "Wish I Knew You" is probably their most popular song.
Yep, that's exactly the one I was talking about. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. I saw them live 3 years ago, and it was one of the best shows I've ever seen. Just full of energy. It was a small venues in Philly, it was at the Marquee, and just encore after encore after encore. They just jammed out.
That's
Dude, the
awesome.
Marquee, I love that place. What were you up in Philly for?
I had a former college teammate that lived up there, and then they were playing, and that was the closest they were going to get to Cincinnati. So it was kind of on a whim. We decided to go up and see my buddy, and then go see the Revivalist.
Nice.
That's
Yeah,
Key City.
I miss Philly. Yeah. Ann and I took a good trip up there a couple years ago and went and saw the pin relays and showed her the campus and everything. But I try to get up to Philly every other year. Yeah, last year was my 10-year reunion and we were going to go, but of course, COVID. So they pushed that back to the 15. So we're going to do that in another 4 years, I guess.
Man.
Oh, dang. They pushed
to get up there, though. I had not had a Philly cheesesteak before that weekend. And
oh, nice.
Did you go to Geno's or Pat's?
Geno's, right? Geno's is the black and silver, right?
That'll be Keith Scott. I just remember it's Geno's and Pat's, but I don't remember like the decor or anything.
Geno's had some flames painted on the outside when I
think it might have been there. I want to say Jim and Nick's, but that's not the right name either.
Jim's was my favorite.
Maybe it was Jim's. I just know that I remember the outside. The building was black and silver. You went in line, and there was 150 people there already in line for lunch.
Yeah, sounds about
right. I bet that line moved pretty quick though.
Compared to what you would think. Flew by. I mean, it probably took 10 minutes to get your order, and then you had the Philly cheesesteak, and things this big, and it just loaded up. It was so good.
Man, getting back to just with concerts and events and live and everything, the UFC has announced they're doing a complete show next month with full people in attendance. And then somebody else, WrestleMania is going to be next month, and they're doing full attendance too. They're having it at Raymond James Stadium.
Okay.
Nick, how has because like I'm more in tune with football and basketball, UFC, like MMA, those are kind of my top three. How has the baseball world kind of been impacted this past year? Have the numbers dropped? Are they pretty healthy still? Like what's the status over there these days?
As far as cases within teams, or
have they had to like cancel games? Are they going on pretty smoothly? Like
so last year they delayed the season and it was shortened, no fans. It was a 60 game season, so it was more like a college baseball season, just really condensed. Wow. They segregated. Players were from the hotel to the field and back, weren't going out to restaurants. Pretty strict, kind of locked down as safe as they could be. And then if you broke the protocol, so there were some suspensions for that. It's kind of similar to the bubble of the NBA. But spring training's been going great this year. Teams are going to open up April 1st. I know the Reds are going to have some capacity, but not full. And then I think there's going to be spacing between seats. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But as far as the players, everyone seems happy and excited and ready to kind of rock and roll.
Are they doing a full season this year?
Yeah, doing a full. They plan to do a full season this year. I think the minor league season, spring training was a little different for those guys. I think they came later just to keep some separation, and then their season might be pushed back a couple weeks. But no, it seems like everyone's kind of ready to go. They're wearing masks. I think you can wear a mask. You see it in the dugouts from spring training right now. A lot of guys are wearing those the buffs. But it's all systems go. And professional sports is pretty easy. You have all those doctors and trainers on staff. They're safe. They're getting their temperature taken numerous times a day. Travel as a team. It's pretty easy to keep those guys isolated, fairly isolated. It's tougher if you have a family, I would imagine. One of the Chiefs coaches, his son had autoimmune disorder, and he stayed in a hotel the entire NFL season, and just his family because he didn't want to subject him to a high risk.
Makes sense, but geez, what?
No, absolutely, no. It's just
wow.
that emotional toll that's got to take on you. I can't even fathom that.
Yeah.
And I'd say you probably know a thing or two about that from life on the road throughout the season. What's that like? Constantly traveling and never getting to go home, or do you get to go home sometimes?
If I got to go home, I never made the All-Star team, so the All-Star break was always a time I could go home or go see my family if they were elsewhere. I've got a brother in Atlanta. I'd go see him. So, but during the season, it's you get in a routine, you're playing every day, and then those guys on your team you really bond with year to year. So it's fun, but the dog days of summer can get true, especially if you're not playing well, the team's not playing well. I mean, the later in the season it gets, the tougher and tougher it is mentally that way.
Just the kind of day-to-day grind is something a lot of people don't like. We would have walk-ons come in the spring term and try to play for the team, and 2 weeks later they're ghosted, and it's like, what happened to you, man? It's like, I just didn't realize how much of a time commitment it was. So
no, I don't think any high school kid has any idea what the time commitment is, especially in college. I mean, your day is planned from morning weights on. I remember I think we had weights at 6:30. Then you'd go have a full morning of classes, grab lunch, and then head to the field by 2:00 for baseball practice. And then you'd wrap up maybe 6 p.m., go get dinner, and then go home and be exhausted, study a little bit, and go to bed.
Yeah.
Was it more demanding for you playing at Florida or when you went into the league?
As far as the schedule, it was more demanding at Florida because you're also a student. But then playing baseball professionally, that's what you really want to do. It's if you had a night game, 7:00 game, you're getting to the field probably 2:00 or so. So you have the mornings to yourself, you have lunch, kind of do what you want, but then 2:00 you're there and then BP starts around 4:00. So you get your work in for those couple hours, then BP come in, hang out for 20, 30 minutes before the game, and then go out and play. So that was a lot of fun. That was like playing summer baseball. And that was what everyone in college, growing up, summer ball was the most fun. Baseball was your only commitment for the summer, and just go out and play with your hair on fire.
Speaking of you, playing at Florida. So obviously, I know that you got drafted out of high school, right? And then you chose to go to Florida and play. What was that decision? I mean, what did you base that off of? I mean, what was that like kind of going through your head? I mean, it's every kid's dream to get drafted, right? And you ended up getting
absolutely. No,
it
was definitely my dream. My parents kind of had a serious conversation with me, sat me down, and really kind of pled their case, and they wanted me to go to school, and that I was always going to have a plan B, and that school would be a great foundation. And really had that conversation. And truthfully, it was the best decision I ever made. At the time, I probably argued a little bit and wanted to go straight to pro ball and all that. But looking back on it, I wouldn't change a thing. It's the rivalries in college are what make it so special. And then also growing up and maturing, I had never really cooked before going to college. My mom took care of me there. Like it was good to go away, and you're still regimented and not quite a release to the world. And I loved it. I mean, the Florida State rivalry, the Miami rivalry, those are some of my fondest memories. I mean, and I got to play with some of those guys in pro ball afterwards and just talk. And we always would go back and talk about that game, or I pitched against you and I struck you out, or you hit a double or a home run off me. Just the ribbing with that. The college baseball was so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, and you made 2 College World Series, right? Which is
I was lucky enough to go to 2. My freshman year, we lost in the Super Regionals to Southern Miss. I was kind of the Cinderella team that year, so really was on a team that could have gone 3 years in a row. And the coolest thing was I got to go to the last year at Rosenblatt and then the first year at TD Ameritrade. So they really did up the festivities around that. There was a closing ceremony and an opening ceremony for both, and firework displays. I think Katy Perry didn't come out and play, but was like, they did the fireworks show to all her songs.
That's awesome.
It was, and Omaha just embraces it. I mean, you're out there for 2 weeks. And I think they spend months prepping for it. I mean, you're treated like a rock star. It is it's the mecca of all of college baseball, and every little kid remembers seeing it. Like growing up in the summer, and those on TV. That was fun. Unfortunately, we went 0-2 my sophomore year, and then and lost to Florida State. They put us out. So that stung a little bit for sure. And then my junior year, one of the best teams I was ever part of. We lost to South Carolina in the championship series. They'd gotten there. They were a great team. I thought we were on paper a better team. But the first game was just a dogfight, and unfortunately lost that. And the second game was close, but it kind of really took the wind out of our sails. That opening loss, and they were a great team. We beat them in the SEC championship, though. So Michael Roth was their unsung hero, and ended up becoming teammates with him in pro ball, and one of my best friends today. But hated him when I was in college.
That's how it goes. That's so funny. So you beat those guys this stage in the SEC championship, though.
Yeah, beat them in the SEC championship on their field. So I always joke with Mike that I dogpiled on his mound. And then he pulls out two of his rings and has the last laugh there. But
man, yeah, that's tough.
But those games were fun. I mean, that just truly, it's all about winning and losing. You're not worried about anything else but beating those guys and really the pride behind it.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, there's college sports. I mean, in this country, there's nothing like it, really. I mean, like you said, I mean, the time commitment, you put so much into it that's your focus. Obviously, that and academics, but you put everything into it in college, and you've worked so hard to get there, and it means so much, especially when you're playing at that high of a level, and the atmosphere around. I mean, hearing you speak about that, I can picture, it's just the spectacle that it is. And of course,
absolutely. And then in college baseball, I mean, we really don't get a ton of fans, but the World Series, there's a lot. Florida was lucky. We had a good fan base. And then you'd go to South Carolina, you'd go to LSU or Arkansas, and there'd be 10,000 fans in the stands. And that's at no point in my career had I ever played in front of that many people. And that atmosphere and just the adrenaline, you feel the buzz. It was so cool to experience that under the lights. And you guys playing football got to experience that every Friday night.
Definitely.
And Saturdays.
Yeah. And I think that's why I pursued, the career in entertainment and producing the shows and putting on the shows and stuff like that, because that same, like, I have never found anything aside from sports that gives me that same buzz, that same
absolutely,
feeling, that's that atmosphere where, everyone in attendance is awaiting something to go down that's going to be, awesome. So, I totally get it.
It's so much fun. That's one of the best rushes I think that you can ever get. Just going out and playing and performing.
For sure. So obviously you had a great college career at Florida. Unfortunately, you didn't win the big one, but you did get drafted for a second time, which is, does anyone get drafted twice? Is that a thing?
Yeah, if you're drafted out of high school and elect to go to college, it's fairly common to get drafted twice. There's actually some guys, due to the age requirements to get drafted, or if you go to JUCO, there's guys that have been drafted 3 or 4 times. So it's pretty cool. Baseball's, you can go straight out of high school, or you have to wait 3 years if you go to a 4-year university, and then I think it's 1 year if you go to a junior college. So there's a lot of opportunity to get to the minor leagues, and then there's, I guess, different avenues, different paths for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you could, just tell us a little bit about, getting drafted that second time and what that was like. And it was Anaheim that drafted you, right?
Yeah. So I was drafted by Anaheim my junior year, and my parents, back to that discussion, had made a deal with me that if I got drafted as a junior and I wanted to go and pursue it, that I'd be able to, with having the 3 years of school under my belt. And I had to promise that I would go back and finish at some point. And I did once I stopped playing. They were great and support. The UF admitted me back in. It had been 10 years, so I had to start that process all over again. But they worked with me, and I was able to get accepted and finish my degree in a year. And school was much easier that second time around. But getting drafted was what I had had dreamed of since I was a little kid, and knew that year that I was playing well. So to get drafted and reaffirm that I was a good player took a lot of weight off my shoulders. And the draft takes place during our postseason. So we were practicing, getting ready for the super regionals that weekend. So it was nice to get drafted and get drafted fairly high and then put it away and not even worry about it. But we were at practice during the draft. I get out of practice. I had a bunch of texts and phone calls, but it hadn't been picked yet. I was on my way back to my apartment to kind of flip on the TV and watch it. And my younger brother called me to let me know that the Angels had just drafted me. So that was awesome. I couldn't have been more excited. They had a great team. They had won in 2002. Jared Weaver was a guy that I always watched as a kid, was on that team. Scott Downs, another Lexington left-handed pitcher, was a guy that I had always admired from afar, but never personally knew. So I was really excited to be able to have an opportunity to potentially meet those guys. But it just it reaffirmed, and then I knew it was another stepping stone, and then I had to go prove myself in the minor leagues. But I remember that first spring training, I got called up to big league camp to be a backup pitcher in case a starter didn't finish an inning. I'd come in and have to clean it up. And the right fielder was Torrey Hunter, and I have to go play catch with him. And I'm like, oh my God, like Hunter, he's Superman to me. And I'm going to play catch with him. Like, don't airmail him. And I remember that first throw to him, and he goes, "What's up, Rook?" And I'm like, oh my God, like, couldn't believe it.
You talking to me?
Yeah,
you talking to me? That's me. That's awesome.
And he was such an awesome guy. Luckily later that year, I got called up and got to play with him, and LaTroy Hawkins and Scott Downs all three really took me under their wing and kind of showed me the ropes per se. But,
that's awesome. Yeah, it's always good to have the vets taking care. You know, that's one thing I know with Ben. Whenever he went to the Twins, there was a lot of vets, and they all really took him under their wing and treated him right. Denard was a big influence on Ben.
Oh yeah, I mean that makes all the difference in the world. It takes off so much pressure to feel like you're part of the team, or that these guys are looking out for you to make sure you're doing things the right way. So I've tried to live by that ever since. I saw that, and I had a teammate tell me one time, he said that no one's ever going to remember how good you were. They're just going to remember if you were a good guy or not. And that always stuck with me.
There you go. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, it makes sense. So Keith and I were talking, a little bit before the show, and we were wondering, are there any I'm sure. I mean, I've been, in a few clubhouses myself, with Ben and stuff like that. And some of the shenanigans that goes on there is all time classic. You got any funny clubhouse stories, or, anything on the road that you could share?
Yeah, I mean, I remember for like birthdays, like some guy that you'd be walking, turn the corner to the showers or something. You'd just get doused in baby powder, or slapped on top of your head, stuff like that. But I was in Double-A. I think this is a funny story. But so if you have any big league service time when you go back and play in the minors, it's kind of an automatic rule that you get your own seat on the bus. So minor leagues, the whole team piles in one bus, and then you go on these ridiculously 10-hour trips, maybe even further sometimes. But if you have seniority, you get your own seat. So I had just gotten to Double-A I got traded from the Angels, was in Double-A with Indians, didn't know anybody. Gotten in that day, we played in Akron, and then load up. I kind of waited for a lot of guys to get on the bus, but not too many, where I wanted to claim my own seat. So I got on the bus and had my seat, and apparently I took it from, I didn't know whose seat had laid claim to it before, but during the season, you typically have your spot, and that's kind of your seat for the season. And the guy was real upset with me, but didn't say anything to me. And I found him, and he had his own seat. He was actually on the right side of the bus, and I wanted to be able to lean up against the window so I wouldn't fall. My left shoulder wouldn't get cramped. I tried to give him his seat back, and he just wasn't really having it. I started the next day, and I think I gave up like 10 runs in 3 innings, but I felt electric in the bullpen. I thought I was just going to go out and just carve it up, and was going to be back on my way to the big leagues. And I think I got 2 outs and gave up like 2 home runs in the first. I mean, it was awful. They were going to have that team was going to have their fantasy football draft that night. And the manager called down to the bullpen, and I think the second said, "Draft's canceled. Like, so-and-so, get up." And then this guy, he ever since then, we've been best friends. I think he took him just immense. And we've been boys ever since. He actually lives here in Cincinnati as well. And I was in his wedding. He was in mine. I mean, we've become best friends. But I mean, that really stuck with me, that he was visibly upset with me for taking his seat.
It's so funny how like the small things like that along with like so many athletes being superstitious,
Oh yeah,
it's so funny.
I mean, the minor league baseball is a grind. You're not typically playing in front of that many fans. I mean, everyone's there wanting the team to do well, but more important, they want themselves and to get up and go to the next level. So anything, I mean, things that shouldn't bother you definitely bother you, and I was guilty of that as well.
That level of competition creates an awkward competition amongst teammates, because it's like exactly like you said, like you want to win, but also you're trying to shine out because it's all about you getting up to that next level at the end of the day. We had a rule that was basically, if there were 2 guys that were of equal talent, the younger one got the playing time. And basically their philosophy was, this guy's got more years in the program. Let's get him the experience. So if it's equal talent, we're going to choose the younger guy. So that kind of always created this like animosity between the older crew and then the young guys coming in. Cause it's like, instead of trying to foster that relationship of, the mentor or the older brother on the team, it kind of creates this backstabby culture where you don't want to see the people coming in succeed.
Right.
Yeah. So just kind of weird how different teams, different managers go about the philosophy of bringing together all these different personalities into one team. And I'd say there's
it is. You got to do it. It's the teams that everyone gets along and everyone's pulling for one another, the teams that play the best. They might not have the most talent, but they truly play the best. And then teams with all the talent, if the manager or coach doesn't have that harnessed, I mean, it can get real ugly quick. And even in the business world too, I mean, all these companies talk about culture. I think that really is one of the most important things.
Totally agree. Yes. That is something that I tried my best to correct at the company that I was the GM of, for a couple of years. And I feel like I did a good job, but I actually had to step away because of more cultural problems within the company. So it's very, very, very important. And it's kind of corny when some people, come on team, but really it is, I mean, if you can have that atmosphere and work, I mean, everyone's going to work so much better together.
Oh yeah,
totally.
I mean, I was on a team, it was the Columbus Clippers. It's AAA with the Indians, and we had Bruce Chen was on that team, Sean Markham, Anthony Swarzak, Colin Cowgill. I mean, these are all guys that have had substantial Major League Baseball careers, and they were on that team. And that team got along so well. We won, I think we went on a 28-game win streak, or 22.
Holy shit.
A whole month. And the season's only 5 months long. We were winning night after night. It was so much fun. Just, I mean, you went to the field every day ready to go, like, who we're going to beat today. I mean, it was so cool.
That's awesome. So did you live in Columbus a short time then?
Yeah, I lived right above or right next door to the Blue Jackets arena. I lived down in that arena crossing area. So walk the field, walk around Short North. Columbus is a great, great city.
Yeah. So that's where the company I was working for, we were based out of Columbus. I mean, I spent tons and tons of time there.
Okay. So what was that little venue doing down by the field? I forget the name of that. Is on the third base side of Huntington Park.
Of which of Columbus?
Yeah, of Columbus. Yeah, sorry. I think they would have bands roll in on tour buses. I mean, it couldn't have been big. It couldn't have held more than 5,000, and that might be a stretch. But it was always packed.
So that would probably be Express Live. That would probably be Express Live.
Right there. It's right there on the corner. It's kind of that main. I forget the name of the road. It's kind of that main road coming off the interstate.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. So I've never done a show in Columbus, only like festivals.
Yeah.
But I know there's Newport Music Hall is the one I'm familiar with, but that had to be Express Live because it is like right off the interstate.
Yeah, it had to have been them for sure. But
yeah, and
that place was always rocking when we were playing.
Yeah,
it was fun to kind of to hear all the bass going while you're playing and just see the strobe lights going. I mean, they were right on top of us.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, that same atmosphere, they're building the same thing in Newport, but just better.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be awesome. I really do.
It's going to be so cool. Yeah.
So myself being kind of an entertainment fan, a pro wrestling fan, I love the show. I love the charade of everything. You started talking about music in the background while you were playing. I love the idea of like walkout music and plate music. That's one of my favorite entertaining aspects of baseball. Did you ever have like a walkout song that you stuck with during your time?
I kind of had a few, and those were always fun to pick out, just depending. I mean, only pitched, so I had kind of while you warmed up. And I always chose Can't Stop by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I thought the intro to that song was awesome and kind of fired me up a little bit, and it seemed like the fans liked it as well.
Nice. A little Flea. I love it. As a bass player, I love it. It
always sounded nice coming through those stadium speakers, I thought.
Yeah, I bet. Man, yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with Chili Peppers at all.
No. But the walkout music's fun. You get to see kind of different players' personalities, and yeah, I learned a ton of music just by watching the game and seeing who's coming up, and you start to recognize players by the song that comes on. You don't pay attention, you hear the song come up, and you know Mike Strauss walking up to the plate or something. It's wild.
Since watching Major League and just seeing, Rick Vaughn and hearing Wild Thing, I was always like trying to get in, like, who's coming out to what? Or Mariano Rivera came out to Enter Sandman, I think it was.
Enter Sandman. Yeah. Hell's Bells with Trevor Hoffman. I mean, just it's your curtain call almost. Mm-hmm. Or, calling card, sorry.
Yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about what you're doing now and stuff, and it's all, again, congrats. Get married. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's big time, man. I'm from everyone that like in our friends group and like at Catholic and stuff, they always rip on me because I was the first one to get engaged and I'm the last one to get married. What can you do? So maybe one day, I hope, we'll see, man. But
you will, absolutely. I don't doubt that at all.
We'll see. But so I know we talked a little bit about the ponies and wanting to cover some of that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Was your family like involved in like training, or did you own? Or
so my father, he worked for WinStar. Right when we moved back to Lexington, he went to work for WinStar Farm, kind of out over by Midway, and then he's been at Keeneland for the last, I want to say 15 years. I could be wrong. I might be getting that wrong, but he's been over at Keeneland ever since and loves it. And he got into that right out of college. Grew up in Wichita, Kansas. Had a summer job with the horses and fell in love with it. And he's like, that's what I want to do. And it's not work to him. It's pretty cool to see him wake up every day. And I mean, he eats it up. It's really his passion.
Dude, same. Yeah. That's the only reason why I was born in this country is because my father, I mean, that was his career, was, with horses ever since he was, a little kid. So I totally.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. And it's so fun to go out to the races and watch. I mean, just beautiful. I mean, talk about muscles. I mean, those horses are athletes 10 times. It's so cool to see them run.
What's your favorite track to go to?
I love going to Keeneland. I think Keeneland
Gotta be
special. I don't think you can beat it.
I don't think any.
Paul DeLuca is involved in the horse racing in various capacities. But I remember he was talking to my dad one time, and he's like, "It's the New York Yankees. I get to drive up the tree line every day. I mean, it's beautiful. It's so iconic." Del Mar is another fun track. Some of those tracks down in Florida. I'd go over to the Red Mile and watch the Trotters. I'm part of that. I don't know if you guys have seen that. The Cats by 90. I guess a syndicate for a lack of a better word, but I think it's like 50 people of all just pitched in a little bit of money to get some Trotters, and we go down there, the blue hats, eat hot dogs, and watch the races in the summer.
Oh, that sounds like a great time.
Yeah,
it's a blast. Awesome. It's a blast.
Red Mile, ever since they did the renovations out there, that place is just a good, all around good time.
It is. I'm shocked it doesn't get more people than it does. Truthfully, it's so convenient and easily accessible. Sam Bowie's down there a lot. I think he's really done well with the Trotters.
I'm the same way. I absolutely love Keeneland. Believe it or not, father was in the horse business all of his life. Grew up in Kentucky, and I've only been to Keeneland.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I take it back. I have been to Red Mile, so I have been there. But anything outside of Lexington, I've been to the gates of Churchill Downs. I've never even gone inside. Never been to a Derby. Yeah, kind of wild. But
I got to go to the Derby once, back in 2007, Barbaro, and that was
nice.
Tag along with my dad, and that was a treat. I'd hope to make it back one day, but that was talk about a crowd. I mean, so many people, you can't move.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've got a lot of fond memories from when I was my dad was huge into horse racing, more just from the spectator better side of things. But we used to load our little red wagon with a cooler and take sandwiches and drinks and stuff down there. And we would go and just bet all day and watch the races. We went twice to Churchill, but then pretty much when I got older, I was like, let's just go to Keeneland, because Keeneland is, you can stand there and watch the races too. It's such a nicer atmosphere to be in, but just so many fond memories of being around the track. And I love the experience of seeing everybody in the dresses and the big hats. I actually tried to throw a Kentucky Derby party my senior year of college in Philadelphia. Didn't really go over too well. Well. We made mint juleps.
It was a starter. It was for starts. That's hilarious. What
I remember in high school, our senior skip day was always out at Keeneland.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah, especially at Lexington Catholic. Yeah.
Lexington Catholic. The Dunbar. It seemed like the whole city just comes together. It's pretty cool.
Definitely. Yeah. I still do. I've always appreciated the prestige, of and the just the whole aura, of Keeneland. So I worked there. I worked in guest services for just one meet. But I just wanted to get the experience, and it was cool because they put me third floor clubhouse, I think it was. So awesome. It was more of just like a pass gate type deal. But where I was at, I had a perfect vantage point of the races. So I'm like, this is a job. I get to watch every race and be here every day. Yeah, it was badass. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about Keeneland.
And they're doing the Railbird Festival. You guys been to that yet?
Yes. So
I've not made it over to it, but it seems like it was going well, and then kind of, I think it's happened twice now, maybe, or once.
I tried to go. I heard Gary Clark was playing. I think it was 2 years ago.
I've
never been to it. I hear it's really, really something though. I can only imagine it's got to be beautiful out there if it's at Keeneland.
Gary Clark's a hell of an act too.
Yeah. So if I remember correctly, it's only been on the 1 year because of COVID. Last year was going to be the second year. And I kind of have mixed feelings about it, just because with my company with Trifection, that I've got like the perfect Kentucky Music Festival idea, and in my opinion, at least in my partner's opinions, we pitched it to the Kentucky Horse Park and they agreed to everything. So we were actually back in 2015, we're going to throw the first outdoor festival of that caliber in Lexington.
Oh, wow.
And then we also approached Keeneland with the same thing, and they kind of turned their nose up a little bit. But Keeneland was our first option. Like, that is exactly where you want to be if you're throwing a festival on those grounds. I mean, everything is perfect about it. I mean, the influx of cars, the fact that they already have the parking down, like everything you can think of, they've already got going on.
Right.
So it was kind of bittersweet. Like, I'm glad to see it for the scene in Lexington, but it also was it stung a little bit whenever I saw that get announced, because I'm like, that was our idea. We like everything, and with the horse park too. The only reason it didn't go down because we had one investor that just kind of pulled out last minute. It was heartbreaking, man. It was really heartbreaking. I mean, we had a shuttle system set up for the horse park, and I mean, we had everything. We had everything figured out, right off the interstate, obviously. But yeah, so I don't know if I'll attend or not. I'll be in there. I'll be a Scrooge the whole time if it ever comes back. I'll be like, I already thought of this. So it's just, it stings. But like, I was visiting Hewitt in Tennessee, and we went golfing, and it was a blast, honestly. But he was like walking me through, like explaining things. I'm like, wait a minute. So why do we need this club?
I mean, it's definitely one of the most infuriating sports. It's trying to play it. I picked it up of late, and I'm a hack, but I mean, I just like being outside, and then it's kind of my competitive outlet right now. Ever since baseball was over, trying to find kind of a physical activity to do that, and it wasn't going to be working out or doing like those kind of competitions. So golf was really the only. I can't jump, can't play basketball, so golf was really the only choice I had. And it's fun to chase that little white ball around, but it can be infuriating for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a fun. So every year with Enterprise, the whole state gets together and they take the managers out to Belterra Casino and Resort and stay a night in the casino, and then do a day on the golf course. And my first time going, I hadn't been golfing in a long time. I had sold long story about what happened to my clubs, but I didn't even have any clubs. So I get this invite last summer, 2 summers ago now, to go to this Belterra thing. And I'm like, sure. I go on Facebook Marketplace. I got a whole set of clubs for $50. So the caliber of clubs speaks to the price that they charged as well. So, I'm just like, exactly like you said, like, just getting out there is enough for me. Like, just being outside and in the sun, and that's a lot of fun, drinking a few beers and stuff. But I didn't really expect much. So I get there and I get paired in a foursome, and in my foursome is literally the top guy in our company at the whole thing. Yeah, this dude makes like $5 million a year. So I'm like, oh, great. He like picked me to be on his team because he knows I'm an athlete and must think I'm a good golfer. I'm trash at golf. So I get out there, dude, and I'm just like, I'm so nervous because I'm a new manager and I've got the richest guy in our company staring right at me. I shanked my opening tee shot. It probably went 20 yards total after the roll. Like, it was bad.
I'm good for that. I'm definitely good for that. Those there's no pressure like there is on that first tee. You've got just a set of eyes on you, and you're trying to hit that thing straight and not mess up.
Yeah. Thankfully, I wasn't the worst person in our group, so that was good. We did play a couple of my shots throughout the day. We also had a guy who played college golf, so he was kind of like our ringer. So was able to kind of fall into the pack a little bit, but I was sore for 2 days afterwards, man. My hips and my shoulders, like, it took it out of me. I didn't expect that at all. I felt like an old man afterwards.
I mean, it's a long day outside and moving muscles that don't use anything else other than the golf swing. But being in the sun and having a cold beer and just being out there is kind of what does it for me right now.
Mean putt golf player.
There you go.
Yeah. You throw in some spinny wheels. I'm good.
I hole in one the volcano hole last time I went, and I retired on top. I'm never golfing again, or never.
That hole eats my lunch. Is that a photo of Ben behind you, Juan?
Yeah, actually it is. It is. Yeah. So this is actually he gave that picture to me. It says my first hit. It's his first major league hit. And man, it says to my father Juan.
That's great.
Yeah. So, and my fiance at the time, won't talk about her, but she put this nice, beautiful frame on it. So, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it fits with like that's all sports themed back there. This is all music, so.
No, that fits definitely. I like I see those 6 state champs up there.
Yep, the plaque, and I've got this guy. My mom got that. She like surprised me on Christmas with a little.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that picture.
Yeah, it's sweet. It's sweet. So, and I've just got some other. This is the MVP for football, but everybody got the MVP that year. That was so lame. That was the lamest thing the coaching staff did. They were so unprepared for us to win it. I'm like, I've been telling y'all the whole year we're gonna win this thing. Like, what the hell? Like, I've been telling it we are going to win. Like, how would y'all not prepare for this? They could get us black jerseys last second, but they couldn't vote on individual awards for the season. Get out of here, man. What the hell is that? I was going to win one of those awards too. So they're like, well, we'll just give all the starters an MVP plaque. It's like, so when people come over, they're like, dang, you were the MVP. I'm like, yep, sure was. Shit. Best player on the team. Best player on the whole team.
There's some studs on that team.
Yeah.
You guys were good.
Yeah, definitely. It was good times, and everywhere we went was a big deal. It was always a spectacle, so that was cool. I know.
Oh yeah, no, I remember that was a lot of fun watching you guys.
Yeah, dude.
Well, your guys' team wasn't too bad yourselves over there when you were at Catholic.
No, the baseball in the city was really good. Dunbar was great. LCA was good. I mean, there was Chaz Rowe at Lafayette. I mean, there was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was baseball. Lexington baseball was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I'll never forget. We went to troll Chaz when they played at Dunbar, and some of our guys took blow dryers, and they were acting like they were like speed guns.
Oh yeah.
And so they're like sitting behind the catcher with these blow dryers, like acting like they're scouts. I think we won that game. We were good at getting in people's heads.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Dunbar.
Speaking of him, have you seen his slider that he's been throwing? That he's kind of developed the last couple of years.
No, I have not.
You've got to watch how. I mean, this thing breaks like 4 feet. It's the best breaking ball I think in Major League Baseball. I mean, he's really
dang.
Yeah, there's
the best breaking ball I ever saw.
Good videos of it on like the Twitter, like people analyze it. I mean, it breaks a ton. It looks like a frisbee.
I'll have to check that. I'm gonna put a Google note. Did you ever play against Josh Ellis? You know that guy?
Oh yeah. I didn't play.
He was my.
I was actually in spring training with him with the Marlins. Great guy.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a little before me in school, but he coached I think early on in his career in one off season. My brother was a catcher too, so he kind of worked with my brother, and my brother was I think in middle school at the time, but. In spring training, he brought that up and remembered it, and I was shocked by that. I mean, he's had a hell of a career himself.
Yeah. What was his brother's name? There was Josh and
AJ. Sorry, yes, AJ.
AJ, yeah. AJ's the one that played catcher.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, I was with AJ.
Yeah.
But
dude, Josh was my quarterback when I was a freshman at Dunbar. I don't know what he ended up doing, but he pitched for us. Okay. He had a cannon. He would hit him with the fastball, then he would throw the curveball, and people would get out of the batter's box, and then it would curve into the strike zone. It was like I used to laugh at people backing out of the batter's box and then getting strikes called on them. It was crazy.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, man. It's wild. It's something that I don't know if there's ever been like articles or some sort of news coverage or anything on it, but it definitely it should happen. It's kind of crazy that Lexington is kind of like a sleeper city for amazing major league talent. I mean, there have been so many, I mean, of course, more than any other sport, there have been so many pro baseball players from Lexington. It's wild
Yeah,
to
and
me.
I mean, of late, I think the biggest name by far is Walker Buehler.
Okay.
I mean, he won the World Series last year. He's got an electric arm.
What high school did he go to?
He went to Henry Clay.
He went to Henry Clay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Man, won a World Series.
Absolute stud.
God, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, so many big names. Like, geez, I think when my sister was in high school, she went to Lafayette. What was it? Austin Kearns.
Austin Kearns. Yeah.
Yeah. Stud. That dude was a stud. Crazy.
One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, too.
Yeah. And it's kind of wild too. I mean, we had what? So I mean, just at Catholic, whenever we were there, we had obviously Ben and you. Was there anyone else that went pro, like from Catholic?
So there's some guys. I mean, there was a handful of guys prior to us that did, and then afterwards, I think Will Hurt. It's just for whatever reason, baseball Lexington's kind of a hotbed, and no one really expects it. Sure.
Right.
There's another guy that's playing right now that has an absolute cannon for an arm. So it throws way up, almost sidearm, and it's almost 100. It's ridiculous.
What was the last name?
Gott, Gott.
Oh yeah. Tate's Creek, right?
Yeah. Yep. He's
Yep.
a little younger than us, but went to UK, and then UK just built that stadium. I remember that. I mean, when I was in high school, they were talking about building that, and I think that it's 2 years old now.
Yeah, I've only driven past it. It's beautiful.
It is. I've only driven past it as well. It is awesome.
Yeah,
it's really sharp what they did with that and the track stadium over there. I love going and watching the meets and catching games and stuff over there. It's beautiful now.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
UK football's new practice facility. That thing's second to none. It's awesome.
Yeah, I really want to see it. Like, is there a way that you could just like get a tour of their facility? I wonder if it's probably be a lot more difficult now, but like when things resume, like, can you just do that? I don't know. Is that a thing?
I don't know. I know a guy I'll connect you with that would be able to facilitate that though.
Sweet. Love it.
He's yeah. But the UK football's been a lot of fun of late. I remember high school. I think it was my senior year when they beat LSU. Was that 2008?
I'll never forget that. I was we used to after our football games, we would tailgate post game so that the players had a chance to hang out with everybody.
Yep.
And we were at a post game tailgate, and I was watching that on a tiny TV screen on like the back of somebody's camper, and just nobody else cares about Kentucky football, of course. And I'm just freaking out like the loudest person around. Like, who was it? Stevie Johnson, was it that caught that? No. That was the Louisville game that year. That was when LSU's when we stopped them on 4th and inches or whatever it was.
Yeah. It was overtime. Jamarcus.
Yeah.
That was like the Micah Johnson era, like days on defense, right?
Yes. Talk about a beast.
Yeah, totally. Man, it's funny whenever you said that, I instantly thought of the UK Florida game. Whenever was it Trevor Wyndham? I think whenever he knocked out Tebow.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that game. Oh my. That game was one of the funniest stories. Like for me personally, I had a white hoodie on. Like, okay, I literally had a plastic fifth of Jim Beam in the hoodie pocket sticking out on both ends. And I had downed half of it pregame. I just walk right into the stadium. Like didn't even I walked in like I owned the place. Like I was supposed to be there, right? Walk in with one of my buddies. It's sticking out of both ends. Like I can't stress that enough. I get in, I get in line. I think I get like a Coke or something. Just completely trashed. I felt so embarrassed to the next day because the guy that I was with, he told me it was one of the Lexington Catholic parents was there. It was, I forget who it was, but it was a kid I played lacrosse with. And they were sitting right behind me. And I was just housing down this popcorn. I was like, on the way back, because like I wasn't gonna make it to the fourth like at all. So I'm like, I gotta get out of here. And my buddy was like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure. Get it." So I walk back. This is when I was living on campus. I was living on Park Avenue. I walk back, and on my walk back, I get totally lost. And because I'd only been living in this place for like 3 months, and I wasn't very, very familiar with like the campus at that time. And I actually stumble into like this random house party to ask directions to my address. And it was like something out of a movie, because I asked a guy that's like friends with the owner, and this house party was slam packed. And I'm like, dude, can anyone tell me where 446 Park Avenue is? Just someone give me that. And they're like, where are you trying to go? I'm like, I don't know where I am, and I just want to go home. And they're like, dude, you're shit-faced. I'm like, yeah, man, I've been drinking all day. Florida Gators have SARS. They all have SARS. That's when the whole SARS thing was going on. And I had the surgical mask that said Florida has SARS. So I was like, Florida's all got SARS. UK's losing. Tim Tebow's knocked out. I just want to go home. So this guy literally turns down the music and he stands up on a chair. He's like, everybody shut up. And like, this guy is so shit-faced that he doesn't know where he's at and he can't find his way home. And everyone's like, ah. Nice.
Probably right next door.
Yeah. The night I was 2 streets down. Nicest guy ever, because he actually led me to my street until I could see my house. I'm like, you're the man. I was like, I owe you a bottle of whiskey. I never saw the guy again. But yeah, man, that just sparked my yeah. That was a good time.
Now I've just got super tailgating nostalgia, man. Like I miss going to tailgates and just not even having any intention of going to the game and just sitting out there and eating food and talking to people. Like, I miss that.
I do too. That's some of the most fun thing. That's that in the fall. Can't beat it. Dude, England tailgating a little bit, go to the races, you can go to UK tailgate. It's tough to beat.
Oh, yeah. The Lexington double dip. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. Well, for me,
thanks for a long day, but it's worth it if you make it.
Yeah.
You better be sure to hydrate during the course of the day at some point too, consistently.
Yes. Yeah. Well, for me, back in the day when I was working in nightclubs in Lexington, I used to do the triple header.
Oh man.
Tailgate for the UK game, hit Keeneland, and then work the nightclub shift.
Holy cow.
Yeah, because I was always trying to promote, my events.
Oh yeah, stuff. No, yeah. You gotta be out there.
Yeah. So yeah, people would see me and they'd be, hammered like, 1 o'clock in the day, and I'd be ripping shots with them, and then they'd see me, not again until midnight at night in the club. They're like, dude, how are you here? I'm like, how are you here? How are you here right now? I stopped after that second shot. You were just housing beers the whole time. Oh man.
So Nick, I know you said you play golf to kind of stay active. Do you still play in like softball leagues, or do you do anything else to kind of stay active now that you're
I've played a little bit of softball. With some of the guys down in Lexington, and then obviously last year everything was kind of shut down here. But golf, for whatever reason, a lot of the golf courses were open and people were able to kind of get out and play. But I have a black lab puppy. He's 6.5 months old now, so I have to take him on daily walks in order for him to be.
Oh yeah.
If I don't do that, he is just kind of like Tasmanian devil, just rips up everything.
No, I'm the same way.
I've got the old man life going on right now, walking the dog and playing golf.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah,
that's
man.
good though. Something to keep you active throughout life. Like it's because we talked about like the mental, the competitive part of the game, and trying to find something to kind of scratch that itch when you're done. But for me, it was something to keep me active, because that chemical release when you get up and get moving, it's underestimated. A lot of people don't really think about that. So like it's been a journey for me trying to stay active with like, without getting addicted to something and going crazy and like all in on it, but also like keeping my body healthy. Cause like, that's kind of my goal these days, is more of, okay, when I'm, 55, 60 years old, how am I going to be moving? How's my hips and my back and everything? How are my knees going to be when I'm 60? Like, that's kind of my approach to fitness these days, to promote long-term health. So I was just curious, golf is a great way to definitely stay active.
No, and I kind of like you said, it's hard to find the one thing that you kind of want to stick with. I work out still, but I mean that changes or evolves kind of. It seems almost like quarterly that I'll get really weights, or then I want to do nothing but a little bit of like jog. It's just, I guess, really just trying to find something that kind of keeps your mind engaged too while you're doing it. So you enjoy it, and it's not just, I guess, mentally tedious. I have to have something new always going on.
Mm-hmm. We got a reflex bag. It's like one of those boxing things. You hit it and it kind of goes back and forth, so you have to dodge it and everything. Just kind of tapping into the mental side of like getting yourself engaged. Like, I spend 10 minutes hitting that thing, and all of my stress outside of that room has evaporated away. Like, break a sweat in there, just like punching and throwing kicks. Like, that's always been a fun way for me. I think kickboxing was fun, that we learned in the off season of football. They would teach us Muay Thai. So that's something I've continued to do. Never with any intent of fighting.
Right. But more just kind of moving. I mean, the flexibility that goes with that. I'm not flexible at all. I should stretch more. I can barely touch my toes on a good day.
We're going to see you up in the Pilates class here soon.
I don't know about that. I mean, I would break in half if I went to one of those.
Did you ever have any like injuries through your career? Anything kind of lingering on these days?
No. Luckily, nothing lingering on these days. Arm feels really good. I tore my lat once, and then I sprained the AC joint. Those were the only two injuries I had that caused me to miss time. I got really lucky with that. It seemed I knew more guys than not, it seems, that had Tommy John or labor room surgery or things like that. So I've been fortunate. I'm curious to see kind of how that later on in life, what that looks like too.
Yeah, it's
I've been pitching since I was 6 years old and stopped when I was 28. I think 28. So I mean, just a long time to be throwing the ball.
Now, and you were always pitching, right?
Yeah, I mean, pitching. I loved to play. I loved throwing, like playing catch. That was the one athletic thing I had. I mean, I was never fast, couldn't jump or anything like that. I mean, but I could throw a ball hard. So I let it eat as much and often as I could.
That's all. What was the hardest you ever threw?
Mid 90s. I think I probably topped out 96, but sat 90, 93.
Man,
what was your go-to pitch if you had to put somebody away?
Either a fastball or I was a fastball slider. I said I threw a changeup. I really just kind of showed that it wasn't very. But I loved throwing fastballs, and I was a little hard-headed in that regard though too. I probably threw too many of them.
Man, yeah, I can't imagine being able to throw that hard, and also cannot. It's funny because I always told Ben this, like whenever I would be at games and stuff after the game, I'm like, dude, it's amazing to me that you all are just like out here just hitting dingers, like, and these guys are throwing 90 and something, and it's amazing because I mean I've been to so many games, of course, and set up close. It's crazy the speed. It's almost like as soon as it leaves the hand, you're into your swing.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's there, and then the sound of the bat when those guys connect with a fastball. I mean it sounds like thunder.
It's nuts, man. It's funny because I always joke with them. I'm like, dude, like you got to somehow set this up. I want to be at the plate with somebody who can throw like that. I just want to experience it, like how fast it's coming, But nowadays, I feel like if I would take if that ball were to hit me in my legs or something, I'd be out for like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, it would hurt. I would not want to get hit by anything over. Wouldn't want to even get hit with 90, but let alone anything over that. That would hurt like hell.
Yeah. I mean, it's different. Like, your body gets hardened. Especially.
Yeah, you get used to it for sure. But if you're not used to it, and I wasn't, so I went to the Marlins towards the end. I'd always been with an AL team, so never had to pick up a bat. And then I'm in spring training, and I remember going to the cage, and we have to the first 2 or 3 days you're just bunting. And I was like, I really don't even want off the machine, it's fine. I know the ball is going to be a strike. It's not going to come at me, anything like that. And then I think day 4, we got to start swinging the bat. And I whiffed probably the first five pitches off of it. The guy that's feeding the machine finally goes, he's like, are you going to adjust your swing at all? You're swinging underneath of it. I don't even want to do this.
Yeah, I don't want to be doing this right now. Yeah,
I have no desire to go face someone throwing 100 and ripping a curveball or slider at me. It doesn't sound appealing.
I honestly feel like that was one of the big reasons why I'd never as a player, I was always afraid of the ball. Even because I had older brothers that I would play with, and when they were throwing the ball hard, just playing catch. That was scary to me as a little kid, that fast, hard ball. One of my buddies, Metters, Mike Metters.
Yeah.
His dad was playing first base coach. I forget how old we were. But his team ran a pickoff play, or the team they were playing against, to first base, and the first baseman wasn't paying attention, and the ball just sailed and hit Mr. Metters, broke his orbital bone. His whole face was so sweet. He looked like the Elephant Man for weeks. I remember being traumatized by that when we were younger. Yeah, I'm good, man. And I play football too. It doesn't make any sense. I'll get hit by a person, but
it's just one of those things. If you're not used to it, it's just it is uncomfortable. I mean, to go play catch now with someone that's throwing firm, and it wouldn't be comfortable at all. I think I would do it, but I wouldn't be comfortable.
Yeah. That's crazy you said that. I did not know that about Mr. Metters, and that that actually happened to Ben whenever he was in the minors, and it
really was scary.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah,
he took a pit. Yeah, he broke his orbital bone, and luckily he didn't have any damage to the eye. But from I think from then on he wore the extra.
Yeah, I think he had that little the cheek guard.
Yeah.
I was in Oakland when McCarthy took a line drive off of his head.
Oh,
I was in the bullpen. The bullpen's way down first base line in the outfield. Probably it felt like 90 feet past first base, and that ball hit his head and came down by us.
So wait, so I'm not familiar with that. So can you?
So he was a pitcher. I think this was in 2013 or 14. It was a day. I think it was a day game in Oakland. We're playing, and he was. I think it was Eric Ibar was the hitter. Hit just a line drive, and it fractured his skull. I mean, it was so loud, and he's healthy. He ended up playing afterwards. Was totally fine, but I mean, it was scary, and I think it was scary for almost a day to find out if he was what kind of recovery what that was going to look like.
So he was just warming up in the bullpen and got hit whenever he was.
No. He was pitching in the game, and I was sitting in the bullpen.
Yeah. Okay.
And that ball ricocheted off his head down to us.
Oh my God!
So yeah, Juan, he was pitching, and he threw it, and the guy hit it, and the hit came back and hit him in the head.
Right, and it went all the way down the line to the G.
And you heard the thunk. It was one of the scariest things I had seen as a player.
So were you pretty apprehensive taking the mound after that? Does that stick with you a little bit?
No, I mean, I guess you're aware of it, but when you're pitching, you don't really think about it.
You're in the zone, kind of.
I remember
I
guess it's kind of part of it. I mean, they've toyed with like letting guys wear like they put this like padding in your hat. Is almost like a plastic shield. It's kind of bulky though. It never really took off. I mean, there's been plenty of times I've been on the mound and the balls come right back at me, and it's like, how the hell did I get out of the way of that? Or I hit the ribs once. I mean, it's scary once it happened. I mean, it's that fast.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that hand-eye coordination. If it's jeez, man.
I mean, I don't think I ever caught many of those. Those got past. I couldn't react that fast.
Oh man, but
no, anyway, it was great catching up with you guys. I got to run. The dog is going berserk outside.
Totally. Yeah. I was just about to say, we don't want to keep you, and I definitely appreciate you coming on, man. And we'll get some short videos out and stuff, and I think we'll do a long version also. But
I'm gonna edit it and just do a couple clips for Facebook, and then post the full version with edits on the YouTube channel. So I'm thinking the full one will probably be next week, but the clips will probably start tomorrow, I'd say.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
No, awesome, enjoyed it.
Thanks again, Nick. Yeah.
No, it was good catching up with you guys. We'll get together soon.
Definitely. Sounds good, buddy. Take care.
All right, take it easy.
All right, man.
Peace, man.